Welcome back for another video. Who are the top FPL managers buying and selling this week? How's the experts team looking? Lots to get into on this double upload day to stay on schedule ahead of the Tuesday deadline. If you're not subscribed, this is one series you cannot miss. Our experts managers have won FPL before. They finished top 100 in the world 4 times, top 1000 44 times, and top 10k 367 times. It's completely free to subscribe and you can always change your mind. No time to waste, let's get into it then. Looking at the top of the Experts League then, Jason scored a very respectable 82 points, which kind of shows how difficult it is at the very top of the FPL ranks. That was almost a red arrow. He was fortunate enough to own the Salah, Palmer and Saka triple up, who did combine for 57 points, including captaincy in this case. A couple of issues popping up in his team here with Konate and Isak. Let's see if he can hold on to the top spot. Lots of transfer activity again this week. 24% are planning to roll the transfer, 52% making one transfer, 21% making two, and a couple of experts making 3. There's one wildcard active as well. We'll have a look at the best Gamewek14 team later from that one manager who's got theirs active. Quite a lot of hits this week. 12 are taken a -4 and one's taken a -8. Interestingly, every single one of those hits involves buying Saka, which could be a signal if that was something you've been weighing up yourself. Team dependent of course in terms of who you're selling. Many are dropping Isak and Mbumo, some Fernandez. Moving on, let's break down who are the most bought and sold players this week then. So with that all in mind, it's unsurprising that Saka's the most bought player, 31% are buying him for Gamewek14, which also means unsurprisingly Mbumo's the most sold, 35% getting rid. We delved into Mbumo's stats in the team selection video earlier, watch that after if you've not yet. There's a strong case to be made for selling him. Another stat I didn't mention in that video is he's taken one shot over the last 4 game weeks. A rough run of games on the horizon, so Saka, Bowen, Mitoma, Semenyo, all among the most transferred in midfielders. Now Isak was forced off injured last match against Palace after only 22 minutes, so he's become the second most sold player among the experts this week. 22% have sold him, 27% are buying Jackson, which makes perfect sense this week, ahead of Chelsea's fixture against the bare-bones Southampton side, who obviously were already a vulnerable defence, let alone with key players missing. It's a fixture with potentially tons of goals written all over it. Some are making the switch from Wood to João Pedro as well, or to Jackson, given fixtures Forest don't look as attractive for a while now either. 12% of the experts are turning to João Pedro, and they're using that money to move Mbumo or Bruno to Saka, which is a nice pair of moves in combination. Since Game Week 6, Salah's got 82 points, Saka's got second most with 63, and Palmer's on 61. Staggeringly, Haaland's produced 23 points since then, Joelinton and Mykolenko just ahead of him. That all said, none are selling him this week before they face Forest. Will he finally come good, or is it delusion to hold on to him at this stage? It is a pretty good fixture for City in fairness, playing at the Etihad, and desperate to overturn this horrendous patch of form. It will happen sooner than later. Not many defender transfers this week, but Trent's the most bought one, 4% picking him up. An 8-pointer against City, and he looks completely nailed with Bradley out to the new year, and obviously Gomez is required in centre-back in Konate's absence. He was absolutely brilliant as well, I have to say. One of his biggest criticisms recently has been his defending, but he's certainly improved on that, and he's just an all-round incredible FPL asset, despite being the most expensive defender. Now Tsimikas was spotted in crutches after the game, so perhaps Robertson could be an option for 1 mil cheaper than Trent, but it does depend on the severity of that injury. Liverpool's defence has been elite, 11.58 expected goals conceded is the best in the league, only 8 goals conceded from 13 games. Now obviously Gomez could also be a strong option, he's only 4.8 mil, with Konate out till the end of December or early January. He's a low ceiling pick, but you get what you pay for. So, a helicopter view of chip usage. The free hit and bench boost chips basically untouched at this stage, with a third having used a triple captain already. 97% have used the first wildcard, just a couple of experts have still got theirs. I mean, fair play for such good patience. Now, Hey FPL's got his wildcard active and he shared his team with us. It's Raya in goal, Gabriel, Trent and 8-Nori in defence, Saka, Bowen, Salah and Palmer in midfield, João Pedro, Evan Nilsson and Jackson up front. On the bench, he's got Fabianski, Colwill, Vandenberg and Dibbling. Here's what he had to say. I'm popping my wildcard this week. There's nothing too controversial about my team. Many of you may even think that what I've landed on is only 1 or 2 moves from your own teams, but as always in FPL it's team dependent and mine could use some spring cleaning. As a conservative-ish manager, I've been keeping my chip in my back pocket just in case, but with a new wildcard on the horizon in Game Week 19, I feel a bit more comfortable going for it ahead of the festive fixture congestion. Playing the chip now was a bit of a gut feeling for me, but if I had to say why, I guess the real triggers for me are Visser and Mbumo approaching a comparatively tougher patch to other similarly priced options, having no Chelsea exposure as they approach a good run, and wanting to allow myself a few luxury transfers like 4th or 5th attackers, 4.5 mil defenders and goalkeepers. When arriving at the team I picked, this is roughly how the thought process went when building it. Number 1, stay no Haaland. I'm not ruling him out for the rest of the season, but for now, Manchester City still look a little lost, and 50 mil is too much to invest in a player not firing on all cylinders. Number 2, Threemium. Salah, Palmer and Saka are the first names in the team. They speak for themselves, especially after this weekend. All very affordable after going without the robot. Number 3, who looks good on the fixture ticker? I want this team to last at least till the next wildcard chip is available. After looking at the top half of the fixture ticker over the next 5 game weeks, and then adjusting for the teams that I fancy, I landed on a mix of Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Brighton, Wolves, West Ham and Bournemouth as the teams I wanted at least one player or more from my starting 11. Sorry Ipswich, Leicester and Pep Roulette fans. Number 4, picking some, not overly different, differentials. I think it's always fun to try and beat the curve with 1 or 2 of your picks on a wildcard. For me, Bowen and Trent are those picks. Slightly awkwardly priced players that have a good run ahead of them, and active managers can't quite easily get to them on free transfers alone. Bowen is central to everything that West Ham are doing going forward, and those fixtures look great. Trent may not be on the forefront of everyone's mind, having just returned from injury, but he always provides an attacking threat, and he's great for a season where clean sheets feel very hard to predict. Bradley being injured may also give a little more certainty to his minutes over the festive period, especially if Gomez fills in at centre-back for Konate. Number 5, having the kahunas to drop Cunha. I didn't take the decision to drop the 4th most owned forward lightly, I just couldn't quite stretch to fit him in. Another day and maybe he would have made the cut over Jackson, but the reason I'm on the Chelsea striker right now, despite him being 1 yellow card away from a 1-game suspension, is that Chelsea's fixtures stay green deep into January, where Wolves will have a harder fixture run in the new year. Sitting at the not so ideal 1.5 million rank, I'm feeling quite a fraudulent expert, and I'm hoping this wildcard can get my season back on track. Regardless, I'm looking forward to all the highs and lows across FPL's busiest month. Good luck all, and may your arrows be green. Thanks very much for sending in as well, appreciate your insight. Best of luck on the wildcard. On to the next segment, Gamewek14 Captaincy. There's 4 names in the mix this week. Palmer dominates though with 82%, and then it's Haaland with 11%, Salah 6%, and 1% going for Saka. Now the absences of Ramsdale, Bednarek, Howard Bellis, Downs, Lallana and Dibbling all lends credence to Palmer captain. What do the markets have to say though? Well, as far as projected goals, Man City vs Forest is marginally ahead with 2.5 goals, and then it is Chelsea with 2.4 against Southampton, Arsenal with 2.2 against Man United. Graphic here from Rob T FPL. What about FPL review projections then? Well, it's the same 4 names at the top, and Palmer leads the way with 7.7, then it's Haaland, Saka and then Salah. Wednesday is a huge day of FPL with City, Liverpool, Chelsea and Arsenal all playing that evening. Cancel all your plans. Right, let's move on to the experts team for Gamewek14, the template team of the 15 most owned players. It's Raya, Lewis, Aït-Nouri, Gabriel, Mbeumo, Palmer, Saka, Salah, João Pedro, Cunha and Jackson. And on the bench, Fabianski, Rogers, Greaves and Hall. So Isak leaves the team and in comes Jackson. Mbeumo survives despite being the most sold player. He's plummeted to 59% ownership now for next game week. Still some uncertainty there as far as the best replacements. Matoma, Bowen, Johnson, maybe someone else. Holding on to him is a sound strategy as well, and then wait to see what happens. Palmer moves up to 99% owned for Gamewek14. Haaland and Isak, the 2 players here with a negative difference in ownership. As a reminder, those names with a huge positive difference are a big opportunity. Those are the players that the overall 10 million player base are sleeping on that the experts are bullish on. The likes of Gabriel, João Pedro, Palmer and Rogers leap out. Pause and rewind if you want to sift through all the percentages here. Other than that, let's move on to the final thoughts and tips of Gamewek14. Here's what they had to say. FPL Obsessed Family says, time to brace for potential rotation this week as we start the congested December schedule. Getting those players that play the most minutes could be decisive. FPL Dan Cross says, Mbeumo has to go, but no one stands out this game week, so it's not wrong to hold for more information. Martin Hanway says, I don't like getting rid of Bruno after 2 assists, but when it's for Saka, I think he's a must-have. FPL Sizz says, lovely to have the tasty trio of Saka, Palmer and Salah all returning. It's just a pity City have crashed and burned, so now we all have the same team again. Here's to hoping for some chaos with the festive fixtures. And lastly, Lee Caulfield says, it's Nicholas Jackson's world, we're just living in it. Thanks very much for watching. Hit subscribe if this was helpful and help get this past 1k likes. See you soon for the next one.